Good evening, this is Ajarn John, and tonight I'd like to talk about another of the experiences I had on my recent camping trip. As I mentioned in my previous audio, I have just spent a few days camping and walking in Phetchaburi, a small province just a little south of Bangkok. And during my walks in the hills, I would often come across mango orchards, orchards, and often on the ground were lots of mangoes which had become ripe or too heavy and fallen from the tree. Some of them were a ripe yellow color, while some were still green. The yellow ones looked just too nice not to eat, so I was tempted and put a few in my bag. Some, of course, had already been eaten by insects or maggots or other worms, so I left these well alone. But I wondered while I was doing this if this was stealing, and I did not want to offend anybody. These mango orchards were situated in the hills, not exactly on private property, and I thought that if I did not take these mangoes they would just rot away or be eaten by insects and worms. So I decided to help myself. Later, speaking to several Thai people, they all assured me that this was quite okay. Fruit which has fallen on the ground is seen as common property for anyone who wants to pick them up. So this assuaged my guilt. Assuaged. A-S-S-U-A-G-E. Actually, there is a word in English for this fruit we find on the ground when it has become quite ripe. This is windfall. Windfall can also mean a sudden or unexpected present, perhaps a gift of money, for example. In this case, the windfall is the fruit which we find as an unexpected gift. I must say the mangoes were really delicious, and I made a pig of myself and ate around 5 or 6 mangoes every day. Notice that in English we do not use a classifier word, we just say 5 or 6 mangoes. The same with cars or pens. In Thai we might say Nung Ser Pim Ha Lem, but in English we just say 5 newspapers. This is a common mistake I see when Thai people use English. They try to make the transition from Thai to English and bring over the same structure they use in Thai. The only word which might be a kind of classifier in English is the word one. So, for example, I ate 1 mango and I gave 1 to my brother. So this etiquette, E-T-I-Q-U-E-T-T-E, about the collection of fruit which has fallen from a tree, seems to be quite similar all over the world. I think the general understanding is that the fruit has fallen and is likely to rot, so if it is not taken quickly, it will just go to waste. And also there is usually much more fruit on a tree than people can consume. When that fruit is in season, it is usually abundant. So people are not worried if you take what is lying on the ground. This may not be true in poor countries, though. I'm not sure about that. Countries like Africa, for example, I suspect there may be a different etiquette in regard to picking up windfalls. Anyway, this was another pleasant experience on my camping and walking trip, and it really felt nice to get such an unexpected gift. Thailand is a fairly open country when you get outside the cities, and you can walk almost anywhere. There are not so many fences. Not the feeling that areas are private property and that you should not trespass. I think this is not so true in developed countries and richer countries like the USA. The 3 years I spent in the USA, I often found quite frustrating because it was not possible to walk everywhere. Private property is clearly marked in the US with big aggressive looking fences, signs and warnings. So I suspect collecting windfalls in the US is probably not such a common thing. This may of course depend upon what state you are in. Perhaps the southern states like Louisiana, Carolina may have a slightly less strict attitude, but I think it's unlikely it's going to be as easygoing as Thailand. This is one of the things I like about the Thai countryside, this ability and freedom to walk more or less wherever you want to go, and even take a motorbike, which is the way I chose to get around on my camping trip. There are lots of dirt trails and tracks with no prohibition about using them. So this gives anyone the opportunity to explore until they are too tired to explore anymore. Away from the cities, Thailand actually still looks like quite a poor country. The shepherd I mentioned in my last audio is mostly a thing of the past in Western countries. Seeing a man wandering around tending a flock of animals or a herd of animals is pretty much a thing of the past. And it was clear to me that the man I met a few days ago was by no means rich and had a very impoverished lifestyle. Impoverished. IMPOVERISHED. So I don't know when the mango season is going to end. I noticed back in Bangkok now there are lots of mangoes in the street for sale, often at exorbitant prices, or at least they seem exorbitant to me after being able to pick them up free from the ground. Exorbitant. EXORBITANT. I'm hoping maybe if I am not too busy I will be able to go for another camping trip before the mango season finishes and once again taste their succulence. SUCCULENCE. And what about you? Have you ever had the opportunity to find a windfall and pick up some free fruit? I hope you have. Good night, students. Talk to you again soon.